This is the 2017 Nissan Titan XD. Obviously, the XD has been out for about a year now in the Cummins diesel crew cab flavor, which is what this one is. However, Nissan has been very adamant that they are the king of trucks. So far as to go with this model by giving it a double barrel surname. That's right. This is the Nissan Titan XD Cummins Diesel Platinum Reserve. So let's check it out. Now, of course, I have accoutrements of this truck that reek of royalty. I have heated and cooled seats. I have a backup camera with moving object detection, which basically alerts me if there's cross traffic. I have a 360-degree view as well. I also have a trailer brake controller. But what's interesting about this truck is that I'm going to actually compare this to the other truck I've driven, which I thought was the king of trucks, the 2016 GMC Sierra Denali Duramax diesel. So that was the 2500 HD model. Now, the difference between the diesel in this Nissan and the diesel in the GMC is vastly different. This is a 5-liter V8 that puts out 555 pound-feet of torque. It's substantially less power than what I received in the GMC Sierra Denali HD 2500. But the advantage of going to a Nissan Titan XD crew cab is that it is a truck that fits in between the half-ton and three-quarter-ton, the 1500 and 2500 models, because this is actually larger than a 1500, yet doesn't ride like a 2500. And this is where Nissan is killing the market, because they've created a truck that has a larger cab than what you would get on a 1500 or 2500 vehicle. So you have a large cab and somewhat of an efficient engine because it's not overkill power. A lot of people aren't going to be towing all the time, so you still need a daily truck like a 1500, but you need the towing capacity of a 2500. And that's where the XD shines. And that's where Nissan is putting all their money by giving this a double barrel surname of Platinum Reserve. This is the top of the line truck. It's $61,000, which means it's $2,000 shy of the GMC Sierra Denali. But there are differences, and I'll point them out. First off, there's not much of a difference between backing up. Although, I do not have trailer backup assistance. So this won't guide me to the trailer with anything other than a straight line. Now, in contrast to the GMC, there really isn't much when it comes to the infotainment system. I still have a touchscreen display with nav and the radio controls and everything else. But where it differs from that is when you leave this display unit and you go to the rest of the truck. The heated seats, for instance. In this Nissan Titan, they have been very weak. But I've noticed that when I turn on the heated seats, the air fans turn on in the seats too. So it's sort of heating up in the spine area and then blowing warm air. And I don't know if that's right. I think that the GMC has better heated seats. But we'll move on. Because what's more important here is when you're towing. And it just happens to be that while I do have a big V8 diesel in here, what I don't have is an exhaust brake. It doesn't exist. And that's something that you do get in the GMC. Actually, you even get that in the smaller General Motors trucks like the Colorado or the Canyon. Because they have the diesel engines, they're going to use exhaust brakes. Strangely, Nissan isn't doing that with the Cummins. I don't know why. Next, let's talk about ride quality, because that's the most important aspect to a lot of truck owners. That's why they flip-flop between 1500 and 2500 series trucks, or half-ton and three-quarter-ton trucks. This happens to ride like a sports truck, because you get in and it's this massive truck, okay? And in addition to the size, what you basically get here is a smooth ride. It almost feels like a sporty ride. And just listen to it. You wouldn't know that this truck is heavier than it feels. And I'm sure you're dying to find out what the 0 to 60 time is like in this thing. So, let's find out. I'm not going to bore you with the specifics about towing capacity and gross vehicle weight and all that other boring stuff, because basically I'm driving and I haven't memorized any of it. So use the link in the description below, or go to dieselreview.net and you'll see all the stats for this truck there. Please check it out. The ride quality of this truck is the main reason why someone would go from a Sierra Denali Duramax to a Nissan Titan. That $2,000 difference may not sound like much, but when it comes to features and all the little things, that's where the Nissan shines. See, in town, the Nissan is actually a lot nimbler than the GMC. Even though it's got less power than the GMC, it still puts its foot down. It still gets around objects. And for the most part, if you're not towing all the time, what you really need is a nimble truck. And for the size of this thing, it's highly nimble. Now, although the GMC had a sunroof, this one still has a power sliding back window. And while that's cool, there is stuff in here that the GMC doesn't have. And that includes, a Rockford Fosgate sound system. So essentially what you're getting here is a more kickin' rockin' system. I don't really listen to country tunes, but the rock and roll in here sounds great. I'm sure the country's great too. Something else to consider is, unlike the GMC, I don't have lane departure warning in here. My seat doesn't vibrate when I get over the line. I don't get this flashing warning when I'm approaching traffic too quickly for some sort of emergency braking situation. The Nissan doesn't have that. So for that $2,000 difference, I'm missing out on a lot of tech, but at the same time, I'm gaining a much more enjoyable and pleasurable ride. And, well, for a lot of people, that's really what matters first. Essentially, what you're getting here is a truck that rides better and feels better and almost looks better. You can get a two-tone finish, but at the same time, you can get a monotone look in this truck, and you combine that with this interior and the way this thing looks at night, and what you really have is a very classy truck. It isn't some work truck that's tarted up to look fancy and doable in the city. This is really an all-round truck that does very well both in the city and out in the country. It also has four-wheel drive. What really differentiates this Nissan Titan XD Crew Cab Platinum Reserve Cummins from the GMC Sierra Denali Duramax HD 2500 is the bed. Now, I don't have built-in steps to the bumper in this Nissan Titan, but I do have two built-in coolers that have drains, and they're lockable. And actually, that's the only reason why I actually have a car key, because I do have push-button start in here, but I have a key, and the key is just to lock the coolers in the back. I actually don't even need the key to lock the tailgate, because this has an optional locking tailgate that locks and unlocks with the remote control. So when you think about what the GMC offers on the bed side, the Nissan is more party friendly. It's more tailgate friendly. But on the work aspect, it does have a setup for a gooseneck trailer. It is all ready to go on the work side. But at the same time, in Platinum Reserve form, it includes those coolers in the back. And, well, what else do you need? I mean, it's almost like the perfect truck to go anywhere and go do anything at any time. It's the emergency truck. So, it's almost like the truck that you won't let your brother borrow. Now, as far as parking and maneuverability, the turning circle is there, but it also has parking sensors, front and rear. So coming up to this pole, it does a good job. The camera comes on automatically, and it freaks out appropriately. There we go. Clear! What I'm trying to tell you is, the Nissan Titan XD is the latest of the new trucks. It's the biggest of the new trucks. It's the king of the trucks. And that's hard to say and it's hard to justify, and I know that. But when you look at it from a price perspective or incentives perspective or resale perspective, as far as a truck that's attractive and a truck that people want to get in, and it's not just every other truck out there, it's the Nissan Titan that's for you. Actually, you know what? That's not the end of it, because I realize there are more differences here. The Titan XD doesn't have power folding mirrors like the GMC. However, there is a cool trick in here that the GMC doesn't have, and that is this little switch down here that changes the leveling of the headlights. So I have an option to go from 0, 1, 2, or 3, and that changes the angle of the lights, which obviously compensates for the weight of the load in the back. I also have a power outlet in the bed of the truck, and I have a nice cool rail system where I can adjust things and tie things down with. So while the bed has more features in the Nissan Titan than the GMC, the interior of the GMC has a few more features than the interior of the Titan. So it is a trade-off for the $2,000 difference. Thanks for watching.